Since my friend Mark Sakanoff and I weren't able to make much headway with Dialogue LA, which was our effort to help bring peace and understanding to a city in turmoil, I started to look elsewhere for ways I could help make a difference. A new friend, Ardis Farrow, invited me to Jordan High School in Watts to volunteer with teenagers who were part of Living Literature Colours United. This group was aimed at giving at-risk youth an opportunity to express themselves in performing and visual arts, and had been founded by a short, stocky, gruff, Jewish and no-nonsense actor, Phil Simms. His partner in this venture was Kingston Dacour, a tall, middle-aged African-American, also an actor. With his calm and measured manner, Kingston was the complete opposite to Phil. However, they balanced each other out quite well and were both passionate in their desire to get teenagers off the streets, out of gangs and away from drugs. I was happy to volunteer. I wanted to do something to help, and especially in the area of the city that had been most affected by the riots, South Central LA. Now, for a middle-aged, white, blonde woman to be venturing into this part of LA was probably not considered a smart idea. But I was not deterred and encouraged by the determination and genuine philanthropic intentions of artists and other white volunteers, including Phil Simms, of course. Yes, I suppose we were seen as the do-gooders from the other side of town, and imagine there was initial resentment to our presence there. But regardless of attitudes, we got stuck in and made ourselves useful. With my background in drama, I tutored the kids in drama exercises as they prepared to perform What Side Story, a version of West Side Story, focusing on the clash between Latino and African-American gangs in the Watts ghetto. Phil Simms had written the play to highlight the problems within the community. It didn't have the Bernstein music and no one broke out in song, but what it did deliver was great dancing, poetic dialogue, and positive energy between the characters. This created an understanding of the problems between the gangs and resulted in a peaceful solution. Yeah, I know. It was probably very idealistic, but it had to start somewhere. And as far as the play went, it was successful. It was quite apparent that most of the kids aged 12 to 17 were from broken homes, hence the need for family, and one of the reasons they joined gangs. Here was a place amongst their peers where they felt they belonged, despite the fact that there was often pressure to prove themselves by carrying out a crime of some kind. It wasn't always gangland style, but could be a grocery store theft or perhaps a home invasion. If the kids came from a Latino home, it was usually the mother, who often didn't speak English, who was left taking care of the kids, while her husband served time or was simply not available, whether it be from alcohol or drugs. It amazed me, actually, that some of these women had been in America upwards of 20 years, yet spoke very little English. They often worked in downtown LA in factories/sweatshops with other Hispanics where there was no need to speak English. So this language and cultural difference often brought a rift between child and parent. It was bad enough that the mothers didn't speak the language. They also didn't understand the lifestyle, especially in Watts. They were very fearful all the time, which brought more stress on the kids. Seeing the need for these young people to have someone who would be there for them, an adult they could turn to if they needed help, Ardis and I suggested a mentor program. Initially, we got the kids involved in a research project where the kids were divided into groups and each given an immigrant population that had entered the United States and was despised and treated like second-class citizens. This was an exercise to show these young people, Black and Latino, that prejudice had affected every new American, whether Asian, Italian, Irish, or Jews from Eastern Europe. In fact, all nationalities, apart, I imagine, from the white English middle class. The kids could choose their mentor from a number of volunteers like artists and myself, and could also choose the immigrant nationality. It felt as if I was 16 years old again and at the local dance hall, waiting for someone to ask me to dance. Would anyone pick me? I wondered, and feared no one would. How silly that here was I, at my age, with some of the same insecurities as the kids I was aiming to mentor. It reminded me of when I was waiting to be chosen as a big sister by one of the girls at the group home in Toronto. When Carol, a beautiful black 15-year-old who often made her living on the streets, chose me as her big sister, I was frankly scared to death. She was far more worldly than me, tough as nails. I think as the result of her stepfather's sexual and physical abuse and then her mother's rejection. It was definitely an interesting experience being Carol's big sister, and I'll tell you more about that in my book. Now here I am again with my stomach in knots, waiting to be chosen, or not, when 15-year-old Jose, a chunky Latino who looked much older than his age, said, "I like Marie." Wow, what a relief. I'd bonded with Jose earlier on and liked his sense of humour. He liked my English accent. Since most of the immigrant groups had been chosen already, Jose plumped for Irish immigrants. He took me to his home to meet his mother, and on the way pointed out bloodstains on the sidewalk outside one home and a spray of bullet holes as the result of a recent gang attack. There were signs of violence in so many places which shocked me. But I was also struck by the poverty. I certainly wasn't in Santa Monica anymore. Watts was like a third world country. I was fine working with Jose during the day, but when I'd arranged to meet him at his home in Watts on a Wednesday night in November, one of my friends warned me against it. "I'm black," Arnold said, "and I wouldn't go to Watts at night." I thought he was probably right. When it was decided to open another Living Literature Colours United programme at Venice High School, which wasn't far from where I lived, I became part of the team there. That's where I met 17-year-old Norma Perez from El Salvador, who was featured in a documentary about Colours United called Colours Straight Up. The film was nominated for an Academy Award, and although it didn't get an Oscar, it brought to light the positive effect the arts programme was having on troubled youngsters. Norma chose me as her mentor and told me that she was on the brink of joining a gang when she discovered Colours United. She was a delightful girl, full of curiosity and enthusiasm for whatever I suggested. She loved seeing her first Shakespeare play, As You Like It, and much to my surprise, she was absolutely fascinated by the language. We regularly went to the theatre because she was set on becoming an actress, dancer or singer, all of which she was very good at. Even though she wasn't able to follow that path because training required money, she was promoted to Assistant Director of Colours United as it expanded to other schools, and I was very proud of her leadership qualities. She also became a teen advocate in schools, sharing her story and encouraging young people to find a form of self-expression in the arts. And she was very successful at teaching hip-hop classes. Norma's positive attitude, her amazing energy, and her determination to believe in herself has culminated in creating a unique business, a pop-up restaurant called the Salvi Vegan, where she prepares Salvadoran food in her own special style. Her mother has supported her in this successful new venture, and Norma gives a nod to her with one of her slogans, "My food is mom approved." Norma's had her ups and downs, just like all of us, but she continues to smile in the face of adversity. Oh, I admire her so much and feel blessed that this lovely soul is in my life, albeit now via social media. Everything that happens in our lives and everyone we meet along the way shape us, but we must be willing to open ourselves to new experiences and don't shy away from the unknown. Volunteering has been a lifesaver for me. Even though it might seem that I was helping others, I've gained more benefits and learned more about myself than I ever thought possible. Working with young people has been extremely rewarding and without doubt has been a major highlight of my life. In the next episode, I'll talk about another volunteering experience where I ended up writing speeches for I Dream of Jeannie star Barbara Eden and Jack Klugman, known for The Odd Couple. Until next time. If you're enjoying my episodes, my social media guru, Horatio, has asked that you please like the recordings, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified when I post my next episode on Sunday. Many thanks, and your support is greatly appreciated.